traders, welcome back to Daytrading Concepts YouTube channel. Happy 2022. Today is the 25th of January, Tuesday. I'm taking the time to show you what I've been busy with since I've been somewhat silent here in the YouTube space. Obviously, we're experiencing great volatility in the markets, and my primary goal with the channel is to educate and show what's possible, bring some awareness as to our approach and what day trading really affords as a lifestyle once sufficiently high levels of proficiency are achieved. Today I'll take you over the last couple sessions, Mondays and Tuesdays. Today was a rather short session for me. Ended up with just about 52 points, less than an hour, and yesterday was somewhat of a milestone session for me. I endearingly call it Monster Monday since it was the first time in my career that I managed to get to 100 plus points on the US market within a single session. This week my trading session started early in the week on Sunday night with picking up a long opportunity here right after the Sunday night open. I did have a bullish disposition in gold, was looking to take a position relatively early after the opening bell, and following the initial drive which made a new high, I did scoop up a long, which was hands-off management since I do like my sleep. I didn't have a chance to exit anywhere here at the highs, and I was shooting for higher prices with an open field target above 1850. Unfortunately, the market consolidated and ultimately turned back around here from this level on a lower high and came and stopped me out behind this proximal edge. Ended up only with a single handle, and then, as we like to say, I flipped the tortilla and traded the rolling flow to the downside, getting out close to the session's lows here on a triple bottom. I did expect the market could potentially go a little lower, but I was happy here to bag on a couple participations, 100 plus ticks to open the week on a Monday. I'm usually more conservative within the Monday sessions, looking for the context to develop, so I was content with this 3 plus handle outcome within the gold market. Most of my attention indeed has been focused on participating with the equities that have been seeing the most volatility. Initially with today's session, it seems that the market was looking to head back to the downside following yesterday's stellar recovery in the afternoon. Overnight we had here price stabilize just around 43.50. Here you can see where the consensus was found within the pre-market overnight range. There was an attempt to break through higher prices which failed, and before the open there was also an attempt for lower prices. Around the opening bell here at 9:30 Eastern time, the market was initially leaning to the downside, and I did try to follow up on a little bit of pressure here for potential breakdown early in the session, since that's what happened yesterday after the opening bell. Yet I was proven wrong quickly, and I was hesitant here to immediately jump in an opportunity going the other way because of the extended period of time that the market has been gathering energy in this coil. I in general don't like to trade in the middle of these mean reverting episodes. We did head to higher prices, and ultimately I opted for a very conservative placement here close to both the horizontal and sloping support. I managed conservative because I suspected that the market's having a hard time getting above this middle of the channel reference point that I have, so it did lean a little bit higher, but ultimately forced the pivot down, suggesting that lower prices indeed will be looked for early within the regular session today. Very steep movement. I did pick up an opportunity safely here on the backside of this overnight support, which ultimately did hold, unlike last time where the market headed back up. This time the pressure was down and did materialize here for a significant leg lower. I was looking for a move that was roughly the size of the width of this base here, and indeed the market provided below the area, looking to extend lower towards the 4300 mark. I immediately looked to replace the short position at a slightly better price once I exited into the vertical overextension, but then I was very cautious of whether the curve of this cascade will potentially break. I saw a couple strong bars, immediately decided to exit with a small profit and look to reposition close to this flat top, which we have already observed here, expecting that stair-stepping tight selling pressure to the downside. Indeed, I happened to be correct and got a couple runners here in a row back to back for what's already a great start of the session. So for all intents and purposes, I started the session with the only loser, but then quickly fell into rhythm and took advantage on the way down. I opted for a conservative exit here despite being able to anticipate the stair-stepping motion to the downside. Since the market was hugging around number, I'd prefer to take my profits here instead of looking for further downside here below 4,300. Ultimately, there was another wave to the downside, which I tried to pick up a little bit later with another one of these flat tops, which were part of this stair-stepping motion. But again, we got a bit of a sign of failure. And since the pattern was already old, there was about 5 of these iterations of flat bases at lower highs. Opted for a safe exit, and then as the market confirmed the bullish bias by the new high and the marginally higher low, I picked up one long opportunity here on a well-identified slowdown with steep movement following an overextension outside our reference points. Ended up the session here even before 10:30 for this 50+ point result, and a success rate, I believe it was about in the mid 80s, which is I would say exceptional. Of course, not all days will play out as well, but losses are a normal part, especially a fast twitch day trading approaches. Let's look at the Monday session. This is the Sunday night open. Initially, the market headed higher here and topped out on a flat top here just below 44.30. Lots of strength to the downside and a couple waves here by the time we were in the pre-market before the opening bell. Really probed the market here, since it appeared to me that we have already fallen behind a parabolic curve. So I was looking for a potentially early long to see if there will be some amount of follow-through. The market did oblige here to give me already a double-digit in terms of points winner even before the opening bell. I was really looking to be very conservative and had an order waiting for the exit right in front of the last high here that was defined by the movement to the downside, but there was a little bit of extra spring in the market step during this counter-directional move, and that's why I decided to play on a pullback zone. The market retested the bottom, and I managed to again see a bit of bullish pressure here with an increasing intensity following a failure to continue to the downside. So I did pick up another long here, expecting for the market to this time successfully attempt on this high. And I guess my posture was a little bit off since I didn't take my profits as the market was retesting these highs. And as I was looking to minimize my risk, I momentarily dragged my stop a little bit too close to the fire. And of course, as the market will often oblige, I got kicked out on the low tick here and again pushed to the upside, which ultimately would have given me another one of these double-digit winners. The market, keep in mind, was very, very dynamic in this episode, and I strongly advise my cohort of traders to consider these volatile days as with a quote-unquote buffet approach. Definitely there will be more opportunities missed by us than taken, since the bottleneck is usually our physical energy and the focus we can bring to the table. But given enough patience, discipline, and efficiency in the execution of what we can define as opportunities, there will be plenty to be taken off the market. When the market is very, very fast, it's important to pace yourself properly so that you maintain quality with your decisions, which is ultimately paramount and determines your bottom line. Here the market was a little bit too fast for comfort in the first few minutes of the session. You can see that there's quite a few bars for every minute of price action. Therefore, mistakes will occasionally be made, and this is certainly a mistake of management where I allowed for my stop to be brought a little bit too close for the fire in the process of looking to minimize the risk following this minor V-shaped reaction, which I considered is a sign that the market is migrating the bid higher than where double bottom was previously found. Consider that this consolidation might be ready to turn back lower and trade it here a potential lower high, as the area seemed to be holding following the secondary interaction with the area. I was momentarily correct, but the market turned on a dime, and again I didn't even have a chance to bring my stop lower or grab my target and exit, since that move happened here very, very rapidly. But since the risk is well defined in advance, and for us it's paramount to control the risk, I will end up retaining more points than I'm giving back. We did see ultimately higher prices, but the market came back around. I did consider this long opportunity to be another comfortable one, as the market was once again building up here, potentially higher lows in a stair-stepping fashion. I didn't, however, manage to exit the opportunity fast enough, as the market was having a hard time here getting back above the reference point, and yet again I got stopped out here. So following the very profitable long in the pre-market. I was having a hard time getting a good, comfortable grip on the market's rhythm. But ultimately, as about 12 minutes into the regular session, the market finally decided to pick a side and extend. We did get this massive move to the downside, this wave which was clearly heading for the round number. I did participate again on the backside of this horizontal overnight support, and beautiful movement here. Got a great runner out of it, and ultimately got hit here with the profit stick in this massive overextension. The same way that you're unable to many times minimize your risk and are getting tapped on these stops, even though you know what the market will do, you just don't have the time to react in a very fast volatility market. It's the other side of the coin when you from time to time get hit with these large profits without being able to do anything about adjusting your order. Quick attempt to see if this cascade is only bending and looking to reestablish more pressure to the downside. That was not the case, so quick punch of the ticket here for this opportunity, and the market stair steps back to towards this reference point, in effect hugging here in a sine wave manner the 4300 level. We did get a test on this level, but ultimately the double top held here, suggesting that there might be more downside. It was the same pattern here, repeating over and over and over on lower highs, heading for the sub 4300 levels here. I did pick up a short here a little bit later in the progression, so again I had a hard time getting in touch with the market's rhythm here around 10 o'clock, and in general because of the potential for changing behavior or minor news report that might hit the tape. I'm usually cautious with my participation around 10 o'clock. I did pick up a short here, exited on a marginally profitable situation since I was not quite satisfied with my placement, and then unfortunately asleep on the switch, missing here the compression and picking up the short for the follow through. So I did give back the potential of this wave and then stayed out of the market until later in the session, where once we got that steep reversal in sentiment, new high, massive overextension outside of the channel, and failure to continue down here on an attempt to reach new lows, I was comfortable taking this long here, about 50% back on the emerging steep progression, and ultimately decided to hold this one here for a 43.10 niche type of target, getting out comfortably with about 15 points, and then looking for what the market wants to do. There was another potential opportunity here on the next higher low. I decided to pass, and ultimately the market turned back around. I decided to play a very deep discount here following the snap, crackle, pop movement, expecting that some of these buyers that were accumulated between these two green lines will indeed step up, but that was not the case, and I got promptly stopped out here for the full stop at 5 points. The market did eventually stabilize and push through to the upside. I did have a structure frequency built up here to see whether the market will be looking to extend to the upside once again. I believe that was my set of lines. Not quite sure. Yeah, it seems like yes. I was trading the slowdown here in this space where the market momentarily slowed down for potential high low and another push to the upside of this balance point. However, that didn't work out. Once again, quick stop out and then stair stepping movement to the downside. I played this stair stepping motion, but unfortunately a little bit too late here. I picked up the third one and the market was about done with the pattern at this point. So this is the next, probably most significant mistake within the Monday session that I made, which was initially stretching my risk above the base and then ultimately taking maybe a little bit too much risk and foregoing the potential of the market to snap back down. I decided not to take on more risk as the market was pulling back deeper, since there was a certain rounded over quality here which suggested that there might be a significant slingshot back towards 4300. After all, the market was maintaining here a rolling flow sequence with these semicircular waves, so this type of move here for a marginally lower high, some type of a double top, and the potential to go lower was definitely part of the way that the market was forming the high pivots within these semicircular waves, which is one of the more exotic but very reliable geometric patterns that we follow at Daytrading Concepts. Ultimately, we did see lower prices after the compression here, and the market broke down with spectacular force here, making, I believe, what were, yes, new lows on the session. Lots of strength on the way down, cascading motion here down into the mid 30s, and ultimately we bottomed out here about good 30 points following the previous base. Once again, I played the slowdown on the backside of the base, and the market obliged here with a staple move down to the lower portion of our channel. I did pick up one more follow through sell here, but again fumbled my order and managed to take myself out here while I was looking to move the orders. Definitely a challenge later into the session to keep efficiency and focus at a high level, since it's very demanding to trade a fast twitch approach on intraday basis for extended periods of time. You can see at this point it's already 12 o'clock and I've been trading for a good 3 hours, or at least keeping an eye on the market with only the occasional short break. Once again, we found lower prices here, 20 points lower than the previous base, and once again the market double bottomed here and started to form a base. I managed to anticipate this rhythm, did pick up a relatively early long, but had a relatively conservative target for this one. Probably should have picked up another one of these backside of the base type of shorts, but I'm somewhat cautious with these late participations with the patterns, since they become obvious and they tend to change. Here a higher low base started to form following the initial double bottom, so once again I reestablished my long idea at a slightly higher price. But since I got caught here on a V-shaped reaction, I decided to promptly leave this opportunity on the slowdown. It happened to be the unnecessarily conservative posture, since again I am foregoing here the potential of this opportunity. But again, late in the progression, relatively conservative posture. Once we broke back higher above this base, I did pick up the long opportunity on the retest and let this one run for what happened to be once again a great runner for this session. I believe the third one within this session did work out great, and then that was about it for me for the morning session. I did leave the beginning of the afternoon session for other participants, since I was already pretty burned out. Did keep a casual eye on the market while at lunch, but then later within the session, pretty much towards the end, I noticed that the market is now fairly resilient on the way up. Did manage to hold a base into higher lows and successfully retake 4,300 here. So towards the end of the session, I decided to get my feet wet, since it was very much obvious that the market is heading up towards 4,400 and the Sunday night highs. I did pick up a couple longs here at deep discount prices in one of these waves on the way up. Of course, there was already a lot of water under the bridge, but the market felt determined here towards the end of the session to see higher prices. So I took a very conservative exit here, adding another 15 points to the bottom line. And since I saw here a parabolic cascade into thin air, got involved around the dragging here 20 SMA and decided to hold this one towards 4 o'clock. Once we got the overextension, as is habitual for me, I take my exit, and at this point I was up to almost 20 trades, 19 trades. 14 of them happened to work out. 4 of them brought the majority of the profits to the table, which is normal statistical distribution with efficient execution for this system. And despite the many mistakes that I committed, I had a fairly good success rate here at 74% of the total opportunities were profitable. Yes, and the net bottom line was of 104 points, more or less, maybe plus minus or a few ticks. I do tend to account for my trades mostly at round numbers. Great session for me, and actually a solid session for most of our traders here, the cohort of traders that I coach with this fast twitch momentum intraday trading approach on the index. If you have any questions, I really aim to show you what's possible with intraday trading once you understand the general geometric templates of various types of behavior that the market likes to manifest, and of course very high level of efficiency in terms of placement and management are required for you to consistently manage to not only come out on top but maximize what the market offers within these very volatile sessions. Day trading is of course inherently very risky, and it is more importantly a performance activity where you have to constantly work on your craft, hone your skills, and along the way develop the proper beliefs and habits so that you can maintain confidence with execution, be able to compartmentalize the losses, which are a normal part of trading, and of course move on and take advantage of what the market offers. Let me know if you like these type of participation logic based recaps, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.